Rob Twyerould here, KTM Race Team Manager. Here we are at the final round at Coolum up on the Sunshine Coast in Queensland. A very sandy track, and today we're really just going to show you a few tips when next time you hit a sand track, or what we actually do to prepare the bike for the rider. And probably the most obvious thing is the rear tyre. You know, it's a paddle style tyre that really gives you quite good traction in the sand. Generally wheel spin's a problem, so the paddle tyre really grips that sand. Some guys will change gearing to suit the track, so maybe on a smaller capacity bike you might play with the gearing. With a big 450 with the torque and power, that's not really something we play with. We tend to gear it more for the start. Then moving up to the shock absorber, what you're aiming for is to keep that back wheel on the ground. The bumps are further apart, so what we will do is actually slow the rebound dampening down. So that allows you to go into the bump, and rather than the bike recover before the next bump, actually hold the back of the bike down, and it really sort of changes the geometry of the bike and gets that front wheel nice and light and skipping across the top of the bumps. Not much that we do to the motor. The motor's definitely strong enough, certainly our 450. But if you were riding a two-stroke in the sand, then with a carburetor, then you might look at your jetting, because obviously the sand with a paddle tyre offers a lot more load. And what you might find is you get a little bit of detonation, so you'll end up going richer on the needle and main jet on a two-stroke. Four-stroke, fuel injection, it calibrates itself. Moving up to the front of the bike, some guys play around with their levers and bars because you tend to be hanging off the back of the bike more. Our riders don't, but one thing we certainly do is actually run the fork down through the clamp, so the fork is essentially flush with the top of the clamp. We also tend to run a little bit more preload on the spring, again to get that front wheel nice and light and skipping, and then a little bit more compression dampening as well. And generally it'll be clickers, but some people may add a little bit more oil, which will give an overall strength, a bit stronger fork. Some guys change springs, go to a heavy spring, so they might have a hard pack setting and a soft setting that is a spring change. But with our stuff, it's really just the position of the fork and a little bit of clicker adjustment. And then finally, front tyre, again we go for a medium soft tyre. And in actual fact, the boys probably love that tyre everywhere. It's almost a universal terrain tyre. And with the KTM, it turns really nice and that tyre works good. So hopefully that's given you a few little tips for the next time you hit a sand track. Thank you.